Welcome back to another episode of the Pickle Pulse. I'm your host, Brian Green, and I have my co-host, Christy Barker.
Hey.
And we got Brad Barker in for another one because he's so good on mic.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Do you hear that voice?
Yeah.
I thought he had a nice voice before.
So we're going to talk something that not many people think about. I don't think. I haven't really thought about it much other than when someone's a complete ass to me. And that is, pickleball etiquette. How do you behave on the court? How do you behave in rec play versus a tournament? What are some of the important things that you need to know to get invited back to the game? Because I would say one of the key things about getting better in pickleball is you're not a jerk and you get invited back to play with people that are good and or fun.
Yes.
Okay. So
Time.
I really want to start first things first, and let's just talk about rec games, okay? So we are all going out to the court to play recreational pickleball. We're all trying to get better.
Yep.
We're all like 4-5, almost 5-0, I'd like to claim. And the worst thing that could ever happen to you as a good player is you go out to a rec play game, all right, and no one hits you the ball. All right.
Yeah.
And this is exactly why, and I'm going to throw pickleballers under the bus on this one. Okay. They had open play and they have a ton of open plays, but they don't have any open play for higher level players except for once a week. Right. And the rest of those open plays are completely unplayable for a higher level player.
Right.
And here's the two reasons why. One, I'll be nice and get into a game with some lower level players. All of a sudden, I don't see the ball at all. Okay? So I want to throw this out to our 3-0-3-5 listeners out there who, look, I'm happy to take a game. If I'm in an open play, I think one of the big etiquette things that you do is you're not a jerk and you don't say no to people. You're in an open play. You're there to play. All right? You're putting your paddles up on the fence. All right. A lot of times there might be a group of us who are high level who are playing together, but occasionally we'll break it up and we'll play with other people. What really makes me mad is when I get in that game and all of a sudden I'm sitting there not getting the ball hit to me.
Right.
Because they know I'm better and they don't want to lose.
Right.
All right. If you're playing with a better player in open play, you should hit me the ball nonstop. Why? Why, Brian? Why would you do this?
Why?
Okay, because I'll help you get better. That's why you wanted to play with me.
But if they're hitting you the ball nonstop and you are punishing it and they're losing the game,
Yep.
maybe they feel like they haven't impressed you. They may not get that invite back onto the court.
That's probably going to happen both ways.
Right. So yeah. So I understand the other side of it too, but I agree with you.
But
like, don't ice you out because that's how you're going to get better as a lower level player by getting better looks. But
so I'll never forget. We talk about Dave McNally way too much on this pod, but we are because he's just been one of the most elite players around here for a while.
For sure.
And I'm out at Chestnut Forks. I finally get a game with Dave. All right. And I forget who he's playing with. I don't remember who I'm playing with, but I just remembered at the beginning of that game, I decided I'm hitting every ball to McNally, every one of them. And I lost. Surprise, surprise. He's better than I am. All right. But as we walk away, Dave grabbed me and goes, "Hey, man, thanks." And he got it. And it made a very deep impression on me. Is like, we're not showing up to rec games to win.
Right.
All right. We're showing up to get better. And the way that you get better is you hit the ball to the better player.
Right.
All right. And that doesn't mean force feed it every time. I mean, still play pickleball and hit it to both people, but don't isolate the worst player trying to win in a rec game. That's not helping you at all.
I agree.
All right. So point number one, ding, 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 ding. For me, you can hate me. You can not. Put it in the comments if you have issues with the way that I feel about that. But I'm putting it out there, and I feel very strongly about that point.
oh yeah.
I think the other piece of that, as a lower level person, do not get upset when the higher level person is playing the game the right way. Meaning, if the higher level person is doing a variety of shots and making good shot selections and whatnot, they should be able to play their game and not have to feel obligated to play down. So I don't want people upset And I wouldn't be upset if I'm the lower level one on the court, that they're playing a good game. You know, they should play as well as they can possibly play. We should keep giving them the ball so that we can get better reps and get better. And there shouldn't be an upset feeling that somebody's, you know, whipping the ball hard. Because when it's me, that's the higher level one, I don't want to go on the court and play down. When it's me on the court that's lower level, I don't want my opponent to play down either.
Well, and I've been told, I have stories from these players, and for some reason they resonate with me, but I've met Steve Valiant like 2 or 3 times. Great dude.
Yeah.
You walk up to him and you're like, man, I'm going to smoke this guy. And then he beats your ass. All right. And you're like, but I'll never forget. I said, hey man, when you're playing rec games and you're playing with players that aren't as good as you, how do you get better? What do you do? Because I know he teaches a lot and he plays a lot with just everyone. And he goes, I purposely put myself in a bad position. And I said, so he says, I'll leave a drop super high and I try to dig out of holes in those situations. And that makes me better.
On something. Yeah.
And so that's another nugget. And when I'm playing, I really think about that a lot, is like, I just want to get the ball over. And no matter how good or bad my shot is, I just want to keep digging out and make it to the kitchen line.
Yeah.
And it makes those games fun.
Yeah, I like that. Always something to work on.
Yep. Let's go point 2 for me. And that is calling balls in and out. Okay.
This is a good topic.
Yes. Right. So this is one that is infuriating for many players out there. And that is the person who we're in a rec game and you're obviously calling my in balls out because you want to win so bad. All right. Again, the point is longer if you call it in, if you have the ability to get it back. All right. And then the other thing is, you're pissing me off. I know that ball was in. And it's not like I'm the best player around. Hands down, I'll tell you, there are a lot of players that kick my ass out there. All right? But
me too.
Calling in balls out and rec and being super tight on your line calls is just ridiculous.
Right. Unnecessary.
Yep.
I would rather it be in rec play, call the ball in, or err on the side of it being in, I guess is the best expression to use there, because it keeps the point going. Let's keep going.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
We're getting better with longer rallies.
Out. Yes.
Yeah, there's no sense of being petty about it. I was just watching the video. I'm not going to say any names, but it was like a guy hits a volley shot, and I guess on his follow through, he hits his partner's paddle, and the paddle like is flopping around, and that paddle somehow, I think the handle barely goes into the kitchen. I don't even know if that's a fault or not. And so they come up to it and they're having a huge discussion. And so I just made a comment like, is this a tournament? Like, what is the big deal? Like, just keep, let it slide. And
let's be honest,
move on,
for most of the amateur players, even if it is a tournament, you're winning a plastic medal at the end.
That's true.
I mean, I get you have bragging rights. Okay, that means something, but the plastic, come on, guys.
It's their duper, man.
Yeah.
It's their duper's on the line right now.
No, that's a conversation we're having in our men's league right now, because some people are entering in their wins and not accepting the losses. And some people are, and some people are entering, some people aren't, and you never know, and it hasn't really been discussed.
That's poor pickle etiquette.
And this is this is a great topic. I didn't even have this on my list, but number 3, duper etiquette. Okay,
You're right.
Number 3, duper etiquette. It needs to be talked about before the match. Okay, if you're going to put it in duper.
Fair.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Absolutely.
And then secondly, it has to be a competitive match. You're not putting rec games in duper.
Correct.
All right. Because then it ruins the whole part of the rec game. It becomes a competitive game. And that is 2 different ball games.
Right.
All right. So talk about it. And if it's competitive. So my opinion on the men's league is it hasn't been talked about, but it is competitive. Okay. So if you're trying to work on your duper and you need to get it up or down, or you need more matches in it, approach the people before the match and say, hey, cool to put it in duper at the end of it. And you know what I'm going to say is, this is a competitive match. Yes, I'm totally cool with the outcome of this match. Now, I know
I like that.
there is one team where there is a vast difference in dupers out there. And I know that the super high level guy, doesn't want to put him in because he's not playing his traditional men's match because he's trying to do a lot. He's losing some matches he typically wouldn't.
Right.
So, okay, if you approach that person, he's going to go, no, I don't want to do it, and this is why. All right. But everyone else talk to them about it. Don't just
Right.
go into Duper, slap a match in there and be like, this is how it's going to be, and expect us to go, okay, yes. And, because I feel bad personally. If it was a competitive match, whether we talked about it or not, I feel like I should accept it because it happened.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'd like to know before we go in.
Correct. Call a spade a spade. You play differently when you know that that's on the line. I think most of us do, whether it's tournament play or rec play or a competitive game for a league, whatever it might be. You play differently when you know something else is mattered. Money on the line, I'm playing a little bit differently.
Yes, no.
True, yeah,
Like,
no, for sure, yeah. You might pick on somebody's weakness just a little bit more versus targeting the better player because you're trying to get better.
No, that's exactly what we're doing and literally trying to beat the piss out of everyone. A Monday Night Men's League is so much fun, guys. You'll have to watch some of the videos if you haven't already. Miking up both sides, but it is a true competitive match, and I want to beat everyone 15-0.
Is Arpit in that men's league? Because shout out to him. He holds that Duber title, and he's willing to defend it. I feel like anywhere, because we used to play, remember Stonewall, and people were putting up their dupers out there.
Yep.
And Arpit's teaming up with anybody. Definitely had the highest duper out of everybody out there, and he was just like, "Bring it."
Yeah.
Like, let's do it. And I was just like,
he's
man,
going to play it like a mixed doubles match.
he can do it solo, that's for sure.
And funny story about that, and Brad teases me about this sometimes, so I know he has this on his mind right now. But I came to Stonewall one day and I showed up late. I'm on the court playing, and halfway through, Brad's like, "Hey, just so you know, it's Duper night. Duper's on the line." And I said, "What?" Like, nobody told me before I stepped on this court. And so halfway through the game, I'm thinking, oh my God, like I was a mess in my head. I was being dramatic about it, of course. But
yes.
I step off the court and I tossed my paddle. I didn't throw it. I tossed it to the side.
Well, you've already let everyone know you throw paddles from time to time, Christy.
This was not my paddle throw. This was a separate paddle toss to the side against the fence, maybe a little bit. But I got in my feels about it. I just wish I had known ahead of time. But shout out to Arpit, who was like, "Christy, come play with me." And I'm like, yes, let's go.
Everybody's waiting for their chance to build their duper.
We're going to eat some dupers for lunch because I got Arpit on my team. So we're going to eat some people duper numbers. So I appreciated that Arpit is one who is willing. He's like, I don't care. Let's go. Let's defend it.
Respect
I got it. And I have a lot of respect for that. Yeah. Thanks Arpit for playing with me on my not good dramatic pickleball day.
All right. Question for you. This is, I guess, number 4. Who calls kitchen violations?
So that's a great question. So in a tournament, anybody can call and should call, and opponents should call. One time in a tournament, I think it was maybe our first one ever, I actually did call a kitchen fault on a gentleman that we were playing. And I didn't know if that was right or wrong, but I saw something happen. It was very clear to me. There was no dispute about it.
Was there not a referee in that match?
There was no referee.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah. So I called it, and they respected the call, and we went forward. There was no dispute or anything. That was kind of nice. But I think again, in rec, it could be the same thing. Whoever sees it calls it, but I think that it should be no doubt in your mind. You should be 100% certain I saw what I saw. Because how many times have we been like, I think you might have, and I don't want that conversation. Like, was it very clear or wasn't it? And if you're very clear about it, I'm good. I'll respect the call if it's me that's getting called for it. So I think in both rec and tournaments, it should be anybody's call, meaning yourself, your partner, or your opponents. But I think it's harder to do in rec play because we've called it sometimes, and there's been some disputes about it. And so is it worth? I'm actually
not that concerned about rec play because if your toe touches it in rec, no biggie.
Yeah.
But in a tournament, everywhere I've read says you should call it on yourself.
I like that.
You should look down and call it on yourself and be a good human being. Because most of the time, unless there's a referee watching the lines,
right,
people aren't going to catch it. All right.
Yeah. So, I think we touch the kitchen line, and I think we foot fault on serves a lot more than we realize. I see a lot of serve faults.
Yeah.
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 So.
No, the one thing I'll say about the serve is your foot has to be touching the line when you start the serve, right? You can step into the court as you hit the ball. Your momentum
foot
can bring you
cover the plane of the net. Like if the line is here, your foot can be over it. You can't step your foot down until the ball is contact. So you can have like Deckel Bar is a perfect one. His momentum is swinging forward. He touches the ball, and after the ball is touched, his foot is in.
Correct.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's my understanding of interpretation of the rule. Referees, please correct me. David McNally, please correct me if I'm wrong, because I feel like he knows all the rules too.
Well, and then to build on that, since we're discussing faults, just the serve itself, like the height of the ball. Because I mean, I'll be honest, I get called out on my serve. I got called out Thursday, but and it's my serve in a rec game.
Did you
right?
flip them off?
No, but because
That's poor pickle
happened,
etiquette.
it's happened
Not in
so
my
many
opinion.
times that I he said it after the game. He was just like, "Oh wow, you're really on that edge right there of legal and illegal," and I was just like, "You're probably right because you're about the 12th person who has said that to me." And then I was just like, but then I said, my serve, is it winning me points? Is it real good? Is it aggressive?
I was going to say,
and he was like, no. And I was just like, yeah. I was just like, for me, it's because I bowled so much, so it's my motion. But I'm not burning anybody with serves at all. It's just, and then I just explain, it's just like it feels awkward to me. But I mean, if it's wrong, I need to correct it. Because you're going to get called in a tournament, probably. Someone's going to...
But I'm betting you haven't been. You play a lot of tournaments, and there's not a referee looking at you going, hey, fault.
Yeah, I've never... I think I had one guy who, told the ref to watch me, but I think I caught ear of it while I said it, so I probably adjusted slightly,
there's always that Karen or Carl who just wants to call you because they're a stickler for the rules, and it's not really... But, look, call me on my serve because it's powerful and it's coming and it's putting you off. Okay, and I'm in your head,
right?
All right, and you're like your serve, because I've had people do that to me too. Because I hear a lot of people go, Brian, you hit the piss out of your serve. It's really hard to bring back.
Right.
And
Okay. And
yeah.
Next. Thank you.
It is 100% legal. Number one, and number two, eat it.
I love it.
You guys are getting away from the etiquette part. You shouldn't be telling people to eat
Well,
it.
no. This is proper etiquette. Is when people are being, when people are Karens on the court, you get to eat it. It's proper etiquette.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll allow it.
I'm not going to allow
it.
I'm not going to allow bad behavior just because you're a kook.
Right. It's a good shot. I mean, so I don't know. I just. It's the serve is interesting to me. It always, especially dating back to the spin serve. I think you were a spinner, weren't you?
I did. I had a good one.
Oh man,
it was so awesome. It didn't kick left or right. It just kicked forward. It wasn't like Eli's who went left and right, and you could barely get it back. Yeah, I'm actually glad that's gone now too, even though I enjoyed it.
Oh, it completely changed the game for certain people. But
all right, so. Number 4. I think that was number 4, but that really wasn't number 4, so we're going to call this one number 4.
Okay.
Apologize when needed. All right? What does that mean? That does not mean apologize to your partner because you hit a bad shot. All right? And that's something we can definitely talk to.
Talk about
but
net cords.
it is, apologize if you hit a net cord and it goes in, possibly. I mean, it really comes down to how much you like the other team on the other side of the net.
Yeah.
But I will say... if you body bag someone, if you hit it and it accidentally, I'll say most of the time when I apologize, I hit a ball trying to put it away and it goes at their head or their neck or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh my God, that's not what I was trying to do there.
Yes.
My fault. Not trying to take your head off. I do want to win, but I want to do it the right way.
That is an appropriate time to apologize. I've done that too, where I'm like, oh my gosh, that went higher than I intended. That was a mishit. My bad. I'm sorry. I'm not coming for you. But yes, I think that is different than the one that hits the tape and then goes in, or
the sorry, not sorry.
The sorry, not sorry. Right.
Yeah,
it just is what it is.
If I can hit it full speed and catch you in the chest, I don't feel sorry. Now, if I catch you with a low blow or like you said, neck up, okay, obviously, I'm not trying to do that. I'm very apologetic.
And I think once you get to 4-5, 5-0 level pickleball, there's less sorries going on for body bags. I'm really talking to the 4-0s out there, the guys who are crushing Betty Joe, and then she's walking away with new tattoos she didn't want. I mean, don't do that.
Who was it? Going back to the pro, when Matt Wright bodied, I forget what female was across from him, and the partner was like, "Hey man, you just hit her," and then he was just like, "Yeah, I did."
That was
I remember
Julian
that.
Arnold and Jesse Irvin,
Yes.
North Carolina PPA. That's a good pull. You should be proud of me.
That is
was
a
last
really
year.
good pull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a heavy very contentious match.
Zero apologies, you know, and I'm not sure that he owed one. I mean, it makes him a bad guy, but I mean, you know, to some of the viewers, but I'm like, that's high level pickleball.
That I would agree with you. I actually agree in that situation. Like, look, he hit it at her head. He could have said, "Yo, wasn't trying to hit you," but at the same time, I think he's trying to get in their head a little bit with it.
Yeah. And why not?
When you're in pro pickleball
warfare.
I mean, it's so we're taking pro pickleball out of the mix on this, and I feel like there are special rules for them,
right?
And that they're playing for big money at this point. I mean, when we came into pickleball 3 years ago, the top prizes were a couple $1,000. I mean, the top 5 players, men's and women's, are making close to $1 million a year,
right?
If not more than that,
right?
So the rules kind of go aside when you're playing for big money like that.
That's fair.
Yeah,
but even still, we're watching how they do it, and then you know we're trying to do the same things. You know, so I mean it applies to 4-5 to 4-0, 3-5, all the way up to pro. Like it's.
I think just be a nice human being, right? I mean, if you almost take someone's head off, say sorry.
Right.
All right. The sorry, not sorry ball. I mean, look, a lot of times I'm loving that because it can swing momentum of matches. I'm not so much sorry, and that's why the sorry, not sorry comes out. It's just part of the game.
Yeah.
But the other sorry I wanted to talk about is saying sorry to your partner. How many times do you see that? How many times have I done that? I mean, if you listen to the mic'd up matches of the last 3, and it creates something within the match where if your partner then screws up, do they feel like they have to say sorry? You know, so what is the real purpose? Like, yes, your partner and you are playing together. You're both trying to win. I think everyone stepped on the court knowing that. And you know, when I play with G, he knows I'm not trying to screw up.
Right.
I have moments. So don't say sorry, in my opinion, to your partner.
Interesting. Okay.
And walk away and internalize it and do whatever you need to do to move on from that shot.
Great.
All right. Because in pickleball, we hit a lot of bad shots. All right. We hit a lot of good shots. You just got to move on.
Yeah. Yep. Short-term memory. And I'm an apologizer, I think, when there's consecutive mistakes from me. Like when if there are several in a row, I'm sorry. But I think at that point it's also time for a timeout. Like it's, you know, if we're doing consecutive consecutive mistakes, it's time to take a step off the court and regroup anyway. And usually I come back by saying, I'm here. Because I don't want to hear my partner say, I'm sorry. I want to hear you say that you got it. Because I want to have confidence in you. And the way that I'm going to have confidence is you having confidence in yourself. So I try to, you know, a lot of my partners out there have heard me say, I'm here. And to me, that means I'm not only physically here, I'm mentally here as well. I'm letting the past stuff go. Like you said, I'm not sorry because we are all making mistakes out here, but I am present and I'm going to give you my all right now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I feel like I need to hear it, you know, just so that
From your partner?
Well, like because I guess I'm scarred from the past where I played, and this is when I was, you know, just getting into tournaments, and they would pop up a ball and then I would get slammed on, and then we walked up to the side and they were like, they really didn't even target me that much.
Oh, that's
and I was
harsh.
just like, man, like, all right, I wish we had recorded that. So now it's just like, for me, like, you know, if you pop one up, and it's the same thing with me, I do it on a regular. If I pop it up and you get slammed on as a result of my bad shot, I'm like, my bad. That's completely on me.
Yeah.
You know, and then normally my partner's like, forget about it. Let's go. We're good. You know,
and that's a really good point, because I did not think about that at all. But that is the one time you talk to your partner. I feel like if you just float a freaking dink right across the court and get your partner lit up, I'll look at him all the time. And it's two ways. It's one, like you reset it or you got it back. At the end of that point, I'm going, you saved my ass, dude.
That's
that
it.
Was good
Yeah,
stuff.
that's a big one too. That was all your hands, great hands, you know. And I think you're that's a good way to also build their confidence too, because I mean, if I set a dink up and you got a body bag, you're probably a little hot over there, possibly, you know. So it's good to hear this person over here saying like, "Hey, that's completely on me," and you're just like, "All right, cool, clean slate, let's go."
Moving forward, let's go.
Yeah,
let's go. All right, so those were my 4 big things, Christy.
Like
Did anything that you want to talk about above and beyond those?
I like it. So one topic, and this may be a whole separate podcast. You tell me. But
Okay.
coaching and correcting your partner.
Ooh, interesting.
And that looks different for rec play and tournament play.
All right, so let's talk about that. We'll make this number 5.
Okay.
And coaching and correcting your partner.
Yeah. So should you do it? Should you not? Because I think the other piece
I'm
in
curious
that.
here.
Yeah, no. I think the other piece in that is usually one player is slightly stronger than the other. It's rare you have two like 4.78153 that are exactly identical on the court.
Me and G.
Identical on the court.
We're 4.78, 4.83. Like
Look at
exactly.
that.
That's why we play so well together. But we've been playing well together for a long time.
Right.
Anyway.
So like if you have, there's usually a smidge of difference one way or the other. And I think the one that is coaching the other is asserting themselves, whether spoken or unspoken, as the alpha, if you will, on the court. So I think that when you're coaching and correcting somebody in the middle of a match, you are saying, I'm better than you. Which has to be done very tactfully and very carefully, because some people could take offense to that. Now, I'm one, I know I'm usually the weaker one on the court. So I'm like, give me everything. Like, coach me, correct me. I'm good with it as long as it's done in a kind way. I'm good. So I think that's one aspect of it. 2, I think it has to do with timing, like when you choose to say stuff.
Yeah, that's huge.
Are we during a timeout? Is it in the middle of a match? Is it rec play? Is it tournament play?
Okay. So you got ahead of this conversation in that I think the first thing you have to do is ask your partner whether they're open to it. Okay? Yep. Because if you're coming into a match with me, I don't care if you're a 5'3" or a 5'5", and you want to coach me, if you don't ask me first, I'm going to be pissed. And I mean like fiery pissed.
Right.
And especially if you're getting in my face with it and like, yo, you need to do this, you need to do this. It's guaranteed we won't be playing together again.
Right.
Right.
All
Good
right.
point.
So if you feel like you're the better player, come beforehand and say, hey, can we talk about the match during it? Can I give you some pointers if I see things that are going on?
Right.
And then I'm either going to say yes or no. Or because quite frankly, I'm probably going to tell you no. I don't want to be coached during a match. It gets in my head. But after the match, I'm happy to debrief.
Right.
Because your coaching during the match is not going to change my play so dramatically that it affects the outcome of the match.
I like that.
That is, yeah.
I like talking about strategy during the match.
Yes.
I don't want to talk about how I need to correct my paddle angle in my hand and I might need to do this or that. That I can't talk about during. I'm happy to talk about that afterwards, like you're saying. Debrief, give me pointers. What can I go back to the lab and work on? Happy to do it. And during the match, I'm happy to talk about strategy.
So Will, pickleball Will, I don't know if you guys have bumped into him.
Yeah.
You have, but I've known him for a couple of years now, and he said something that he and Chris Olsen do when they're in matches, and they have a 2-point system of good decision or execution. All right, and so like a lot of times they've decided between the two of them that they can look and let's say he tries to roll one down the line and he misses it. All right, and Will go good decision, execution. Good decision, execution. Or he can say bad decision all the way around. And I think that's strategically really good because I think about that all the time. And I'll say it with G now. I've kind of incorporated it in. And that like, I'll be like, that was really smart. We just got to execute.
Yeah.
That was really smart. So don't stop doing that. Just do it a little better.
Right.
Right? And
like that.
Yeah. So
I might need to take that. I like that.
Yeah, it is good.
Good decision, bad decision, and then execute.
Yeah.
And it's very simple, like couple things you can say in between points that won't piss your partner off.
Right. That is more benign than some other things that could be said. I agree.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Yep.
Jury's out for me. I'm okay. I am fine having tidbits pointed out. Again, it's delivery. I'm a therapist. I like things to be said to me the right way, that sort of thing.
I think that's a woman thing.
And it's a woman thing. Exactly. You got many things there. So I'm okay with it, but it needs to be done the right way. And there's a time and a place, and sometimes that's off the court.
Yeah.
So.
And I think most of the time it's off the court. Coaching on the court, in my opinion, is a great way to lose matches.
Yeah. I like that. So
That must be why my record's not that good.
Oh.
I'm horrible. I'm horrible. I don't think I do it when I'm playing beside a player that I know that they have the weapons.
Yeah, when we played in Atlantic City, there wasn't any coaching, and actually we played really well together.
We did play well, but like when I'm playing with somebody that is like, let's say you're playing beside like a 3-5 or a 4-0, and they're making bad decisions, but you're the one that's paying for it.
Yeah.
I'll say, hey, why don't you try to do this instead of that? Which I kind of like your approach better, because this is where I'm still trying to learn, because I think it makes me come off as a bit of a jerk in pickleball, especially when you're on that lower level. And that's are they open to it or not?
That's it. Because a lot of times, if you finished the game and walked off and said, hey, are you open to a suggestion or two? And as the higher level player, most people are going to be, yeah.
Right.
What did you see there?
Yeah.
And at that point, they've given you permission to say a couple of things.
Yeah.
And I'd say make it one or two things and move on. Because if you're trying to, you need to hit lobs, you need to hit this, and all of a sudden they're going, yeah.
Well, like what was, we had the Frankies mixed, and I played with Michelle Spar. And super scrappy.
Yeah,
and
she's
so,
great.
but we're going up against Frank and Sarah Maher.
Oh, wow.
And Sarah Maher is just...
she's a beast.
She will dink you out, just like this one over here. And so they get into a couple dink battles, and she's really going for like some aggressive dinks, and I understood why, because you're going up against Sarah Maher. You have to do something special, So then I came back and I said, don't let her get in your head, Like she's just another person. And she appreciated it. She told me right then, she's like, thank you so much, because I'm nervous going up against Sarah.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
everybody
I
knows
said,
who she is.
I am too. So I'm glad I'm not in your position. But, I was just like, just don't put so much pressure. Just get it over the net and we'll work it out, you know. So that was, but not like hey, put that dink on her left foot, not so direct, just trying to calm her, right? So,
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. No, and I'm stoked because I'm playing Virginia Beach PPA with her, so I'm looking forward to that. That'll be really fun.
Yeah,
that is awesome. She's so fun.
Yeah,
she's a blast.
Is there a number 6, Miss Christie, or should we?
So I think the only other thing, and this might be the one that's so important for all of us and encompasses a lot of what you said, is self-awareness.
Okay.
Like, read the room, be able to read yourself, know what your strengths are, know what your weaknesses are. This takes me back all the way to when we first started going to Chestnut years ago. And it was a really small group, and it was Brad and I down here and like 7 or 8 people way up here. I mean, the separation was really significant. And I wanted to be on the court with Colin Barrow Casavant. I want to play with him. I'm a 3-0. I shouldn't. He's a 5'5". Like, the huge discrepancy. I should be nowhere in the same building with him. But anyways, I'm looking at that court and admiring it from afar and thinking, I want to be there. And he was playing with people like his wife, Liz, playing with Sam Ronolfson. Jay Hall was there. So they've got a great group. And again, this is probably 2020-ish.
Right.
And I've wanted to get on the court, and I'm not getting the invite. Of course, duh, Christy, you're not going to get the invite. But I asked Liz, I said, how do I get on that court? Just one time when she was off to the side. And she said, I'll tell you. She said, one day they're only going to have 3, and they're going to need a 4th. And they're going to need you to sub in just so they can play. And when that time comes, you need to be so open-minded to everything that they tell you. You listen to everything. You show that you're absorbing everything. And I have taken that and like held it here. And the day did come. And then it was months again before there was another time. You sit, and I was patient and I waited, but eventually they needed a 4th. And every time I had her words in my head of, you take and absorb everything they tell you. So that was a lesson for me, to read the room, know where I stood, and be open-minded to everything that came. So I think that that's really important as well. So that's what I'll.
That's kind of gets into like when you're in rec, like in Chestnut is probably like the perfect example, because it's high level.
Yeah.
But there are a few people there that they're outmatched, and so then you get into. Well, I don't know if you call it the same, but charity games.
No, I actually have had this situation in the past couple of weeks where there's a guy, and he's a nice guy, and he's not a bad player. He's just not as good as everyone else.
Right.
And he's quietly standing there, and I feel bad. And I'm like, bro, come with me. Let's go grab a game.
I love that.
And
Good
like,
job.
go do that. And I think you should do that to not be a jerk.
Right.
But then also, like, don't be a jerk to the guy in the game if he's not playing great.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And the Chestnut Forks no look is real.
It's true.
It's
a
real deal.
Yeah.
And when you get to be a 4-0 and you want to come up, I think it's a great place to show and to test your skills against better players. but don't drive away like Brian Green did as a 4-0, butt hurt and hating everybody because they wouldn't give him a game.
Oh, we've all done it. That's for
We've all
sure.
been there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough, and I feel like you give them some games, but then a lot of players will be like, "Hey, I've already played 3 with them. Like that's my
Yeah, I'm not gonna
that's
do it all
my
night."
yeah, that's mine for them. They got 3. They're gonna have to keep trying to, and it's tough when you're trying to get in those high level games. It's
Well, and at the same time, there is levels of this too, right? Like I'm a 4-5, the guy that's probably a 4-0. All right, so there's not a huge. I'm not expecting like Bill Kagaris, who showed up last week, who's a 5'9", to grab this guy and play games.
Right.
All right, he's a nice guy and maybe he will, but there's not an expectation of that, and I don't think he's being a jerk because he's showing up to get high level games to get better against guys who can actually test it.
But that's where you got to throw the respect out for Colin.
Yeah.
Because Colin will give a 1.5 a chance out there,
All the
and
time.
he's having fun with it, and he keeps it competitive. And and I think that's maybe why Chestnut is so successful.
Oh, I would agree. Well, look, places are not successful because of the structure. It's because of the people, and Colin is the people of that.
Oh,
The
100.
people.
And so, mad respect. Third guest ever on the pod.
Yeah.
And, he's just always been so cool to me. And, love Colin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, with that, Colin is not a pickleball jerk. I need you to look at yourself in the mirror this morning. All right. Or tomorrow morning
Right.
when you wake up.
Are you a pickleball jerk?
And-
Are
and
you?
say-
I'm a pickleball jerk.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to hear
Brad
that.
is a
Brad is-
self-admitted pickleball
Oh my
jerk.
God, it makes me so happy to hear him admit it. He's working on it.
So that's step 1 is admitting it.
Yeah.
And then step 2 is doing something about it.
There you go.
All right. And with that, if you're loving what we're doing, we love you. Hit that subscribe button, smash it.
Let's go.
Like, make comments. We're having a lot of fun putting these out, and look forward to seeing you next time. Peace.
Later, guys.